Welcome to the MyAmi podcast. I'm your host, Michael Ben Melech, and today's episode is truly something special. We're diving deep into the world of spiritual transformation, higher consciousness, and authentic Jewish mysticism. I'm joined by an incredible group of participants from right here in South Florida, each coming from different unique backgrounds, who just returned from the Elevation Retreat in Mexico, led by Rav Daniel Katz. Rav Daniel is a visionary teacher who's helping people access the deepest levels of Torah, Kabbalah, and inner alignment. As it says in Tehillim, Or Zeruach leTzadik, leIshrei Lev Simcha. Light is sown for the righteous, and for the upright of heart, joy. This retreat was about uncovering that light within, the light of clarity, healing, and true connection to Hashem. This wasn't just a getaway, it was an awakening. You'll hear powerful, real stories of people who broke through emotional and spiritual blocks, discovered practical tools for elevated consciousness, and connected to the divine in ways they never imagined. If you've ever asked yourself what it really means to live with awareness of your soul, to align with Hashem's will, and to grow spiritually in a grounded, transformative way, this episode is for you. Let's go into it and let's dive in. All right, welcome to the special edition MyAmi podcast. My name is Michael Ben Melech, and we have a treat for all you guys today. We have a lot of guests in this room, and today we're going to be talking about something really, really special. Everybody here who is from South Florida attended the Rav Daniel Katz Elevation Project retreat in Mexico a couple of months ago. And I thought it would be really amazing for everybody to discuss a little bit about their experiences. I know a lot of people, when I got back to MyAmi, to South Florida, everybody wants to know what happened. Did you see God, angels, and people, and what were your breakthroughs? And so I thought about it, like, let's put together, like, going through a lot of different type of people, different personalities in South Florida here, and let's talk a little bit about their experiences. And so this is off the cuff, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And with that being said, I want to welcome all you guys here. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Sarah, Ava, Esther, Ayala, Josh, and Moshe. So with that being said, we're just going to go in clockwise order here. And we're going to begin with you, Sarah. Tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your spiritual journey, a little bit about your background, and what led you to this retreat.
So my name is Sarah Joseph. I live in Boca Raton. I grew up in Flatbush. I went to Beis Yaakov. I come from a very Orthodox Sephardic background. I'm Yemenite. We have a lot of traditions. I have a lot of connection to Kabbalah from my family members. But I grew up in America, and I had a spiritual side to me, kind of like this deep need or want to connect deeper to Hashem, to myself, to understand the world on a deeper level. But, we kind of just learned about Torah and mitzvot and davening, and I was doing a lot of things very robotically. I wasn't really feeling very connected on a deeper level to my existence, to why I'm here, what is my purpose. So I was always searching. When I moved to Boca, I started my healing journey. I learned a lot about energy healing, and I started going through a process of cleansing emotions, trauma, a lot of the stuff that I went through in my childhood and in my past. And as I started connecting more to energy, I realized there's a lot of depth to the world. There's a lot of inner growth, that you're able to connect with yourself, connect with Hashem. And I wanted more, so I started doing meditations. I started connecting with a lot of spiritual healers. And then I heard about Rav Daniel Katz, and someone mentioned that his way of meditating is very different than, the status quo. I heard that he has a way of connecting on a very deep level to Hashem using different names of Hashem. And you're able to experience like cleaning yourself emotionally and mentally just by being in that meditative state, and also connecting on such a deep level and feeling such a purpose and feeling like a self-value, who you are, what you are about. And so I was really excited, and that's what brought me to come to the retreat.
Amazing. Ava?
Yes, so my journey has been very exciting. I grew up in a traditional family with Moroccan roots. Definitely some Kabbalists there in the family. My granddad said that my great-grandfather, Rabbi Yitzhak Bibas Sichrono Lebracha, he always had the Sohar in hand. So that's where I come from, and seeing my grandparents observe Shabbat, and my family really value our Jewish roots and traditions, customs, all of that. And I've always been, God, a very deep soul and a searching soul. And I remember when I was a little girl, my mom taught me, you go and say the bedtime Shema, and then Hashem listens to you. And I would spend, I think, 45 minutes speaking to Hashem as a little kid. And there was a point where it was too much. And that was a point of a little bit more distancing in my life from that spiritual side, which has always been innate. And it became reawakened during a trip to Israel, going to the spot where I really connected, and something that I always wanted to make sure within my spiritual journey, I always remained connected to my own self, to my own traditions, and not so much from like, oh, I'm so religious, this, that. That was never my path. It was a simple, true spiritual path, and I always kept that in my forefront. And while I was in Israel again, I had the opportunity or Hashem to learn at Eish HaTorah in their women's program, the first time they were doing it for women over 20. And there I had the great zchut to learn with Rebbetzin Miriam Katz. So that's where I became connected to Rav Katz. I was at his home for a beautiful Shabbat with his family and for Purim, which was so amazing. And I wasn't like, I didn't fully know who he was at the moment. Like I knew him from being around his family and all of that. And then when I heard about the retreat, I really wanted to go, and I wasn't sure, and everything lined up so that I would be able to go to Mexico, Baruch Hashem. And I'm very fortunate. Well, and Michael also spoke about it a lot, and I was like, okay, I need to go. And thank God I'm with this beautiful group of people, so I'm so happy to be here with you.
Amazing. Esther.
Hello, my name is Esther. I am a Bukharian Jew. I grew up in Forest Hills, Queens, in a very beautiful community. And that definitely has shaped a lot of my values about being a mother and a wife. I feel like I was trained my entire life to be a good wife and a good mother. So, yeah, I have kept Shabbat and kosher my entire life. That's just how my family was. From my ancestry, they were very deep, we did a lot of Kabbalistic things and things that came from the Zohar, and we had no idea that they were from the Zohar. But now learning more about it, I'm like, oh, okay, so my grandma was doing that and it came from that. I don't even think that they knew that. But yeah, whenever I was in my 20s, I had a lot of life happen to me, a lot of traumatic experiences that I don't think I've ever really processed. I just kind of went, along. I was a mom, I was a wife, I had my duties. Life goes on, and there was a lot of noise that I couldn't really sit in the silence. So being best friends with two energy healers, they don't let you sit with your trauma. They like to clear it. And I'm very thankful that Hashem put me in Boca, where I left New York. I left kind of that hustle culture, and I was able to just really slow down and sit with myself and all of these feelings. And yeah, it just felt very aligned. Like, to go and leave my kids for 5 days to meditate was crazy. I never could have imagined that. But everything had aligned so perfectly for me to go. Like, I was just like, okay, Hashem, if this works out, like, I don't know where I'm going to get the money from, but if this works out, like, I'll go. And then that day, I get the exact amount of money that I need to go.
Right.
So it was just all mina shemaim. And I was like, I have to go. Like, for some reason, I have to go. And I'm so thankful that I did. It was one of the most eye-opening experiences of my life.
Amazing. Like, I'm so excited to hear your experiences. Ayala.
Hi. So I did not grow up with Kabbalists or in a Jewish home. I actually left Christianity when I was a child with my family. We always kept Shabbat. That was the type of Christian we were. So there was always the idea of concept of Shabbat. I came to Judaism at about 10 years old, went to Chabad high school, and then I converted with my family at 17. So I'm a spiritual junkie. I am constantly looking for more. Nothing is ever just, I'm never satisfied with where I am spiritually. I'm constantly growing. So through Chabad, I came to Breslov about 11, 12 years ago or so. And that's just where my heart connected. And then over the last, I'd say like last 2 years, I had a very, very difficult time spiritually. A lot of stuff just happened in my life at all one time in one shot. And I just started just diving into spirituality. This is where I can connect. This is where I know Hashem is. This is where I'm home. And then I came across your classes. I started getting more into meditations on all sides of the world because it kind of silenced the mind. It helped me like be able to connect to Hashem in a beautiful way. And then I came to Rabbi Katz's retreat on like a whim. I kind of told my husband, Josh, who's here, I was like, I want to go to this retreat. And I kind of maybe brainwashed him into us both going. I didn't know why. I didn't know what I was getting into. I had no clue. I just knew I was on this spiritual path and just saying yes to absolutely everything. I'm like, Hashem, anything you put in my path, I'll say yes to. And I had most amazing experiences for doing that. And then going on this retreat, I was like, okay, I have no idea what it is. Sounds like meditation. Sounds cool. Sounds aligned. You know, I really like this rabbi, what he's saying. I know a lot of people that are going, and it blew me out of the water. I don't even know how to put into words what I described at my time in Mexico on this retreat.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
We're going to get the right words.
Yeah.
Josh, what about yourself?
I'm born and raised in Boca, Reformed. So my background's not in any Orthodox way. It was always Kippur, Rosh Hashanah was kind of what my family did. Passover, family gets together, that's it. You know, Seder, you know, all the fun parts of it. Became religious when I was 13. My family was already getting a little bit religious through Chabad because my brother was older. He got religious first. Went to Hebrew Academy in MyAmi. Was the first year of the Boca High School in Boca when they opened up Boca back in 1994, 95. Then went to Yeshiva Sheshev for a long time, post high school, and always fell into that mainstream but Baal Tshuva area in learning and in yeshivas. I struggled a lot with various different things in my adult life, which led me to a lot of ups and downs spirituality wise. So I was either always, at chakras at 5:30 in the morning, or I was going to lunch 11 o'clock out of bed and just not connecting. Didn't really recognize or pinpoint where my struggles were until, Ayala and I are married, coming up on 17 years. 18 songs? Who's counting? No, we're together 18.
I don't know.
Anyway, no, 7. Anyway, we'll argue about that later. But we were in a bad place coming out of last summer. Of course, things that I've done, but we were, when Ayala said she wants to go to this retreat in Mexico, it wasn't more like Ayala puts it in a very nice way, but I'll put it honestly, we were not talking. We were talking divorce. Our marriage was in a really bad place. So I was more like, you're not going to go to Mexico alone. It's not happening. And we argued back and forth for like 2 months leading up to it. And then I think even the week of, I was like, I'm not going. Like on Sunday, like I was, I'm not going. And then I was like, well, I'm going anyway. I'm like, that didn't work. Backfired. I said, I am going. And literally, I think the 3 days leading up to us going on the airplane, we weren't even talking. And that's how bad it was.
I don't think we were talking on the airplane.
No, we were not really in a good place. So going to Mexico was, for me, it was really a last shot to see where our marriage goes. But also for me, all the stuff that we did in Mexico or discussed in going, I didn't know what Rabbi Katz was, what he did. I heard meditation. I heard Hasidus. Great. I love Hasidus. That's where I connected most as far as in Jewish culture. So for me, it was an all or none and nothing to lose at that point, really. So my mind wasn't shut off. I was open-minded to the fact that whatever it is that it's going to be. And going there, I never could have expected what have happened when I was there. It changed my life. It changed our lives, I believe. But going there, really, it wasn't out of force. It wasn't out of any, it was literally just, this is like it. For me, this was it for our marriage. We come out of this. If we come back from Mexico with the same flight, we have a chance. And if not, then it was over. So for me, it was that last ditch effort to work on our marriage, I think. And also to find at that point, spiritually wise, I was lost. That religious process and that davening became stale. There was I didn't feel that the frum world, the Orthodox world, was providing, and it was scary, my generation and the next generation, anything that had any substance or life to it. It was mundane. And I think that my struggle was based in the monotony of what learning was and davening was. And thank God for Mexico. I found that. I found the answer.
Who knew tequila was that good?
No, there was no alcohol, and there was nothing on the trip. Which I remember, just quickly, we arrived at the hotel. I go to the hotel bar and ask for beer, and there's no beer. I'm like, let me have a beer. I'm in Mexico. I see it. No. The hotel bar was shut down the entire time we were in Mexico, to my dismay. I did try.
It's beer when you're in Spain.
I didn't know where I was going. I had no idea. Oh, we didn't need beer. No, we didn't need beer. We didn't need anything. But no, I was hoping to sit up with a beer, have a cigar, I'll relax after. No, it was like you were so exhausted. It was like bed learning. It was amazing.
Baruch Hashem. All right, so lots to process and discuss here regarding both of your journey on this. I can see obviously then saved your marriage. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow.
Moshe.
So, my name is Moshe, and I'm going to tell you a fun fact about me that few people know. I'm not French.
Get out of here.
I knew it.
I was born in Istanbul, Turkey. And so at the age of 3, my parents went to France. We lived there all my youth. I was religious. I was born religious. And at 21 years old, we came here in Miami, and we loved it. We came here in vacation. And since then, we stayed here. With a little break in 2007, we decided to make Aliyah. And actually, I met Rabbi Maimon in the Shul of Safra one day, and I really loved what he was teaching. And I said, wow, I want this. I really, really want this. And I told him, I'm going to make my Aliyah in 2 months, and I want to see you every day when I'm going to be there. He said, yeah, okay. You know, the way that he talks.
Just to clarify, Rab Nosson Maimon, who was one of the main generational, incredible English-speaking teachers.
Yes.
And Breslov.
I did not know about him at the time, but then I found out after who he was, and I was really, really amazed. The way that he speaks was unbelievable. So, yes, we did the Aliyah, 2007, and yes, I spent the next 4 years going into his class every day, which was amazing and really growing for me. Like, it was a really good situation. And then I had to come back to Miami for, of course, Parnassa issues. But I started to go since 2008 to go to Uman, and it really changed my life. And I felt that things were unblocking every time that I was going there, even though we don't know what's getting unblocked by the tzaddik, but the soul really feels it. And so I came back here in 2012 and started everything from scratch. I became a general contractor and a roofer. And I grew tremendously, I think more here than in Israel, because you get the lesson of of what you get in Israel, but then you get the practice in the outside world, and which is a very very good practice, because some people get a lot of teaching and then they don't get to practice it, and at the end of the day you don't know if you can adapt it to the daily life. And so it was really good for a long time. But then, like everything in life, if you don't grow, you come to a plateau and you can fall, actually. And so that was the moment where I started to hear again about the retreat, that the first one I missed. And I got to say that the first time that I saw Michael after the first retreat, he was flying, he was in heaven. And I said, wow, I want a piece of that. And
you had to wait for that.
And I had to wait, and I had to, and then he started talking to me about this retreat again, and I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't work out with the dates, with this, with that, and everything, the same as you, everything got lined up in a way that I had to go there, and I go there. Like everybody that, I did not meet Rabbi Katz before. I saw some videos of on Instagram, but it really didn't hit me. But I needed something to change inside of me, and I didn't know what it was. And the first 2 days was really a big shocker. I get hit by all sides. I don't know what's going on. It flies from every direction. The more you go into the days of the retreat, the more he builds you up, and then you get this knowledge and this knowledge and this knowledge, and it's like a whole foundation that the last day is like crazy.
We're gonna talk about all.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much to process when you talk about all.
So much to process, yeah, exactly. And really, the first thing that I told my wife, who was supposed to come, did not come. She's the one who pushed me. She's the one who was watching the Rabbi Katz videos. She didn't come. But the first thing I told her, and that's very important, when like about 2 days in, was, this is Uman on steroids. and that's, for me, was a big statement, because in Uman, like I was telling Josh earlier, is you go and you saw wonders, and you don't know where you're going, but you're going, and you get the how do you call it? You get like a surgery. But when you go with Rabbi Katz, he guides you, and then the soul that is looking for something is getting guided by him, and then you're like, wow, and everything is wow. That's it.
Amazing. So you can see we have so many different backgrounds and stories, and yet Hashem made it all happen that we all needed to be at the specific retreat, all of us together. And for the people that are watching on the outside that don't understand really what this is, because I should have said this from the beginning, really is that we went on an elevation retreat with Rav Daniel Katz, which deals with Kabbalah, higher consciousness, really connecting to Dveikus, to Hashem, and bonding with him on a very high level, experiencing healing in that state, just really living a very high level of spiritual energy and life for 5 days. As I like to say, we came back tzaddikim. And there's a pasuk that says this, Kulam Amla tzaddikim. We all are tzaddikim. The question is, how do we get there? How can we put ourselves in that position? Can we go to Mexico for the rest of our lives? I'm not sure yet. Maybe the times of Mashiach will feel like that. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe play a much higher level than that. But literally, we were in this space. So, turning it back to you, I wanted to know, like, Sarah, from your perspective, again, you're telling me a little bit about your background. So you also mentioned Beis Yaakov, which I think is interesting. what Judaism looks like in your world, and then having a little bit of that Kabbalistic family background, what did you see here in this retreat? What did you experience? What were your like high moments that you felt that you're like, I can't believe this is happening?
I think that one thing that really stuck out for me was that when we do energy healing and we try to clear past life trauma and generational trauma and kind of like cleanse ourselves to a place where we can feel an inner peace and an inner calm, we have these like, these goals. You want to get to a place where you really feel like so at peace in your state of being that like you become less reactive to the outside world and you're more like, I'm good. I know who I am. I know where I'm at and I'm connected to myself, to God. And it was really, really hard for me because I had to go through such a long process to get there. It was like you had to really like muscle test every single emotion and every single trauma and every single detail of like things I've been through or emotions that I felt or negative beliefs that I have. And going to this retreat, when you connect deeply in your meditative state to all the names of Hashem and also the Sefirot, there is such an energetic power of the lights that come into your body and into your soul that you instantly get cleansed. You instantly get a release. It's like in the beginning, I think of like the first few days, it was like more breakthrough where you're kind of like breaking down walls and breaking down layers. All the klipot are coming off because you're allowing the light to go in deeply. So it kind of like comes in and then it's clearing and clearing and clearing. But like you could just be and clear. You don't need to do anything. It's like Hashem knows what he's doing and the light knows what to do, Hashem's light, and you're just being guided. Like I can just like sit still and calmly with the connection to God and like I feel whole, I feel peace. I feel like everything's good, life is good. So the clearing itself was like mind-boggling for me because we're always seeking and looking and trying to do things on our own. And here it's like, you don't need to do anything. You can just come to me. Like this is what Hashem says, like, come to me. I will help you. I will heal you. Ani Hashem Rofecha. I experienced Hashem being the healer. So that was beautiful because prayer is more than just reading a bunch of things from a Siddur. That's what we did in school. Here it was like, I'm going in, I see what I need, I feel what I need, and Hashem knows, and the connection already creates the prayer answered. That's what I felt. And then the second thing that I really felt like impacted me was you can actually feel Hashem so deeply, like by day 5, it's like you don't need to take psychedelics to get there. I've never done it. But from the like things that I've heard, like people just talk about it and say, you can go higher, you can go up, and you don't have to do any of that. You could just be in Hashem's name and his light. And like you feel such an elevation and like such a closeness to him. And the inner peace that I felt when I was like so close made me almost feel like this is how I could be if I bring the light down. And that Rav Daniel Katz teaches you how to bring the light into the world, into our physical state, into everything that we do on this planet, so that we don't always feel like we need a vacation to get to a place of inner calm. You can be doing the everyday things, work, raising children, or whatever it is, and also bring that light in and feel the calm of it. Feel Hashem is with you, feel guided in every step of the way. There's such a clarity and there's that inner wisdom that just becomes so open. You feel so safe being within yourself.
Wow. Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. I have all questions of that, but because of the time.
Yeah.
Ava, tell me a little bit about your experience at the retreat.
My experience at the retreat, yes. So after I had come back from Israel to MyAmi, it was very challenging for me. I had graduated college and I had the zchut to be in Israel for a year. Went through, thank God, immense growth. putting together that spiritual side, integrating it with halakha, because thank God, from the very beginning, I understood that I need to expand my kli, I need to expand my vessel in order to absorb Hashem's light and have this relationship with Hashem. That's what I was really yearning for, like an authentic connection grounded within our own tradition, which throughout life, throughout different spiritual experiences which I had, it was shown to be emet and truth for me, this spiritual path, Baruch Hashem. So I came back to Miami. I was trying to figure out a lot of things in my life, and going to the retreats helped me work through a lot of the challenges, because I had been like right out of art school. And as a creative, it's such an expansive path. And when you have so many options, thank God, sometimes it's hard to carve that path. And I had been trying different ways. And at the retreat, I mainly wanted to get more clarity on my path, to get full connection to self. I had already been doing some work to try and do that, but it was nothing compared to what we experienced there through the different tools, through bringing in Hashem's light, feeling it flowing through us, and knowing that Hashem is not limited. Because sometimes, in a way, many ways, I was limiting myself. And I realized that I don't need to limit myself, because when I'm limiting myself, I'm limiting Hashem, and Hashem is limitless. So rekindling that connection from a different place.
Amazing. Hashem is not limitless. Hashem is constantly healing, right?
Yeah.
Esther?
My experience. So I think that one of the practices that we did was popping bubbles, right? So if every time we have a thought when we're meditating, we have to pop, and just kind of have like that stillness and that quietness. So when we were doing that exercise, I realized that a lot of the thoughts that I had in my head weren't even my own thoughts. They were things that other people have said to me, whether it be my parents or teachers or friends or family. And I had all this like garbage in my head, constantly replaying and replaying. And I just started popping it. And then my own voice came out, and oh my God, it was like a little girl who had so many ideas. And I'm like, pop. Like she finally had a place to think. And I realized at that moment, like I had so many loops, these negative loops in my head, and these stories that I've been telling myself that have really structured my decisions and the way that I live my life. And just having that stillness and that like awareness of what's going on in my mind was very, very eye-opening for me. I don't think that we in this, just the way that the world is right now, there's so much noise and there's so much just, you need to be doing this one's doing that, and you're not doing this enough. And it's just so much pressure. And then just, you're exactly where you need to be. You have everything that you need, and you have Hashem. That for me was very, very calming. It was very beautiful. And honestly, connecting to the different names of Hashem, that was a drug. I literally got high off of Hashem's name. And I know for some people, it's like, what does that mean or whatever? I don't know how to explain it to you. It was a drug. I got high off of Hashem's name. And it was cleansing and clearing. And I was getting like these visions of my deep trauma, and it was being washed away by Hashem's name and light and love. I don't know how to explain that to anyone else. It's just, you have to be there kind of thing.
You're explaining it now.
I know, but it's like, it's so beyond. Like if someone told me that, I'd be like, what? Like he for sure sprinkled like ayahuasca in the food or something. Like there's no way. But no, it was just the power of Hashem's name, and to really feel that. And also just that unconditional love. I think that where I grew up, it was a lot of, I remember my mom was sick, and someone came up to me and told me that, oh, your mom is sick because you're over 12 years old. So every sin that you make, no, you're under 12 years old. I was 9 years old when she was sick. Every sin that you make goes to your mom. So she's sick because of you, because Hashem is punishing her. that is the messages that we grew up, that Hashem is this punitive God and you need to behave or he's going to punish you. And then healing that, no, Hashem is not punishing me. Hashem loves me, and everything that he does is for my growth. I literally thanked Hashem for my deepest trauma. It was like, thank you for that. I have grown so much from that. I'm softer, I'm more loving, I'm more compassionate. And I think by the end, by like the 5th day, I literally was able to look at everyone and be like, wow, you're just a part of Hashem. Like that Mashiach consciousness that he taught us, that was baffling to me. It wasn't like, oh, she's Hasidish and this one is that. And like, I always grouped people, especially where I grew up. It's like, you're Bukharian and you're Ashkenaz and you're Persian and you're this or that. Whenever I was there, it was like, we're one. We're all together. We're all Hashem. And that also was so beautiful just to experience that.
I mean, you're really talking about a utopian Jewish society, how it's supposed to be. Right. And the idea of your experiences sounds to me like that's called textbook Dveikus, which literally means to bond yourself with God on such a level that there's euphoria. It literally is euphoria. And, you know, it's time. Rabbi Nachman Breslov says the same thing. The highest, most important thing, the reason why you're here in this world is for one thing, just to be close to Hashem. That's why you're here. And it's amazing that, again, you got to experience all these things. And even more amazing, again, I'll say even to all our cases, is that you were chosen to be there and God set it up. So far as you were saying it, like, has to be that way, got the money at the right time because Hashem wanted you to be there.
I felt very honored also. I remember we were talking about it. Like, we have to be so lucky to be on this level that we were able to experience this. Not many people could afford it or could make it. And the fact that, like, I had an 8-month-old baby at home that I left. And my parents flew in so I could be here. I'm so lucky and honored to be here. It's amazing. And if anyone has the opportunity to do something like this, it has helped my marriage. It has helped the way that I show up in life with my kids, with my parents. I really look at people from a place of compassion now, you know, and that even like I honestly grew up very judgmental. I really did. It's just that's just the way that my brain understood things. And now I'm like really able to talk to that part of myself like, hey, no one's judging you. You don't need to judge them. And just that compassion. It's amazing.
Amazing. Wow. So this is actually Ayala, Josh. You know, I know you're going to tell me about your own individual experiences, but I also want you guys to both chime in. Obviously, you guys brought up the idea that, you know, there was issues going on in the marriage. And it looks like, Baruch Hashem, you guys are all very happy now. But I'd love to you guys go into a little bit, obviously, on an individual and talk about more about how did this retreat get you guys to a state of back into happiness in your own marriage, to work on it. I mean, people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on therapy and it goes nowhere. Here you took 5 days and everything changed. And I can honestly say, you know, I was with Josh many of the times talking now. We had our own little, so in this retreat, we have little circles that individuals we meet after to process everything that we've been going through. It's very well done. So I knew what Josh was going through this process. But so for me, it was amazing to see this in real time as it was happening. Like I always see by the day, like he's just changing. And it was like unbelievable. So I'd love to hear more about your story and how this all played out in the retreat.
Sure. I mean, like, well, you said it, like people spend tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, on therapy. I've been in therapy. Yeah. I've been in therapy myself. I put myself in therapy when I was 15. I came from a very, very abusive family household. So I was like, therapy is a must. I must know what I need to do. And then coming to this retreat, I was able to process not just even the marriage therapy that we were in for about, 5 years at that point. I was able to take the 5 years of marriage therapy, the 30 years or so of, or 20 years of therapy that I did on my own, and combine the two and do it both in 5 days. It was extremely powerful. And I think the secret to being able to do the work like that is kind of like how Esther said, you said, you know, we used one of the tools that he gave us was using Hashem's divine names, Shaviti Hashem Lenedi Tamid. When you find the power of putting Hashem's name in front of you and you learn how to do that properly, from that place of complete purity, drawing down Hashem's infinite light, the light of the Ein Sof, you can now have the ultimate tools, because now you're connected to your source, you're connected to your creator. So all the problems, all the issues, all the stuck traumas, they dissolve, they fall away when you expose them to the light. They can't stand anymore. And like with our marriage, we were just struggling. We were just in this loop of going back and forth and not really knowing how to like bring Hashem in. And again, I'm extremely spiritual. My husband's also, he was on his path, like he was growing. Like, so we couldn't combine the two. This retreat helped us work on ourselves individually. And one of the exercises Rabbi Katz gave was, that's powerful for me, was the Mechika exercise. Basically, where if you want to pray to Hashem, don't pray to him from a place of lack. Pray to him from a place of being full. There's also a Machshava one with the thoughts. These different meditations that he gave us allowed us to come to Hashem in a place where there was no lack. There was not like my problems and everything, they kind of melted away even before I came to him. Like, I had this big problem. Hold on, let me do this meditation, and then I'm going to come through the problem. When I was there, I didn't know what to say. I was just in such a place of gratitude to God. I didn't even have problems. I was just so in awe of experiencing close connection, face to face with Hashem. So when we were working on ourselves individually with all our marriage problems, when we came to each other after these meditations, we were both in a place of such connection to Hashem and gratitude, where the problems that we had, we were able to talk about in a very aligned way.
Spiritual way. I think that's where.
Is this happening during the retreat, though? You like after every night, you're like talking it out. It's like
We didn't even have to. No, to be honest, we didn't even have to. I think a lot, I think the first day when we got there, for me especially, the fact that Rabbi Katz has everything rooted in learning. That it's all about.
Can you explain that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, he doesn't. If I would have went to Mexico and Rabbi Katz said, "Close your eyes and think about Hashem and light and oceans and angels," I would have been the first flight back. I would have been like, "What, Ayala? Bye. This is not going to work out. It's not working for me," because it sounds crazy. The fact that when you get there and he like grounds you in Baal Shem Tov learning, he grounds you in the Arizal, the Ramchal, to Alter Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, to the Gra, to all Judaism is rooted in these teachings. People like to say the Zohar and quote the Zohar a lot and say the word Kabbalah, and these are just terms. For me, when I left Mexico, it's Judaism. Judaism is rooted, and historically speaking, the Jews are rooted in these teachings, going back to Avram Avinu, fast forward to the first base of Mikdash. We are rooted in this. There was no prayer book. There was no sitter. This is how we connected to Hashem on a daily basis. We spoke to Hashem from a place of abundance because Hashem knows what we need. Hashem doesn't just tell him constantly complain. That's what we're told to do. We're told to go daven and complain and point out how we do things wrong and tshuva, which is all good things to do for sure. But when you get to a place where I think Rabbi Katz took us at the beginning, it took me away from myself. It wasn't no longer about what I'm complaining about in the marriage, what I'm complaining about in my life to Hashem. It was more about Hashem. He knows, he understands my struggles. He knows my struggles. He loves me. He knows my struggles my wife has. He loves her. We are trying to have a marriage together. So after the meditations, by the time that the night came around, we were just like happy to embrace each other and be like, all right, I see you finally. And I think the key thing in all the teachings, which we spoke about a few nights ago, was I came from a place of whatever reason, trauma, whatever words you want to use. But for me, it boiled down to feeling I wasn't seen in my family, in yeshiva, in work, wherever it was. I didn't feel heard or seen. And what the teachings teach you is Hashem sees you. And if Hashem sees you, and we're all part of Hashem, we can see each other.
That was very important because we saw each other. We had compassion for each other.
Yeah. And I think it got us to a place where I saw Yala, and thank God, Baruch Hashem, she is a lot more spiritual than I am. And it's been amazing to see her journey. And also when I came back from Mexico, just my own personal journey, my learning has changed. When I pick up a Tanya or I pick up Chassidus, everything now makes sense. Before it didn't make sense. Davening makes more sense. everything makes more sense because I was not shown some crazy, outlandish lock and key Torah that was told, don't tell me until you're 40. No, this stuff, if you learn the history, which I have in the last 5 months, this is the things that we've been doing for thousands of years. So to get back to that basics has enabled me in my own marriage to be more compassionate, to see Ayala for her, who she is, to see the beauty inside of her, to see what is beyond what we see outside. We are Jewish. Tanya talks about, we have a piece of Hashem's soul, or each of its souls in our own neshama. So we're all connected. We're connected to the trees, to the world. If we're all connected and we can see the beauty within each other, and that perspective takes away all that ego, takes away all of that forced things that I felt in yeshiva, that wherever I am, I'm okay. Hashem loves me. And together, we're now able to share learning. And I feel that one's trying to outdo the other. You should learn this or learn that. We're all just trying to grow. And at home, we're trying to now help our kids grow in that same way. So for me, really the big thing was just being seen. And if the most important thing I took was the teachings are thousands of years old. They're not Zohar, Kabbalah Center this, Kabbalah that. These are just terms people use to give definitions. Avram Avinu was the first one who was an astrologer, the first one, who was writing Sefer Yetzirah. This stuff is what Hashem has been giving us for thousands of generations. And thank God it's coming out now, because I had no connection to Hashem until this. None. Davening was literally short Esrei, great. Okay, bow here, bow there, halfway down. It was robotic. Now, when I daven, there's actually something to put behind those prayers. It's like, okay, I could talk to Hashem. I could speak to Hashem. And regardless of how crazy it sounds or whatever happened in Mexico, which for me personally, I tell people all the time, if I told you what I experienced in Mexico, you would lock me up. And I'm not one to sit here and exaggerate about what I experienced, but I could tell you, like for me, it was deeply meaningful the way these things work. And it works on a spiritual level, not on a physical level. It's all spiritually grounded. And that was the most important thing for me.
I'm listening to this right now. And I remember when I went on my first meditation retreat that we had done, maybe about, I think it was almost 4 years ago in Tulum, Mexico. That was the first one. And I remember walking out of that retreat going, this is the most amazing. This is Judaism. Hello. Why didn't I know? Hi, over here. And everyone was like, Michael, you're crazy. People were like, what's, I mean, he would tell me, I'm like, you don't understand. I was like talking to Hashem all the way. And the angels and he's like, what do you want? That's what he said. He's like, so, and then I think that's the biggest takeaway. This generation is thirsty. They want to feel Hashem. It's not just a concept. It's not just something that, we can learn something. We put the book and we close it and we're done. No, you don't understand. Like, this is exactly what the tzaddikim were talking about for all these years. And now we finally have the tools that a person can feel Hashem in their lives, literally feel a real bond with him. It's not some Mickey Mouse relationship. Right. It's real.
Yeah, and look, I mean, for me, the biggest fear I have, and you have kids who are older, but for me, my biggest fear is that my children grow up where I found Judaism 6 months ago, where they're learning Gemara or they're learning Chumash or davening, and it's just no substance. It's just do this, do that, do this. And then you wake up, and then eventually the Yetzer Hara comes, right? And tries to get in your head and be like, hey, maybe it's, if you logically think of this, if you think about logic, and Rav Nachman talks about also, like, if you bring logic before Hashem, you're done for it, right? Logic can't be the reason. That's the Yetzer Hara. So where is the juice? Where is the passion in Judaism today? And that's my biggest fear for my kids. And thank God we now are in a place where we could share that juice, where my kids are talking about Mashiach and they're talking about loving Hashem, and they're not talking about, I gotta go, chakras at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's that rigidness.
Yeah, correct. And not 95 Judaism.
That's not Judaism.
I think that when people hear the word Kabbalah, they get a little bit scared off. It's like, oh, what's this like heebie-jeebie things? Like, you have to be 40 years old, you have to be a man, you have to have a family, you have to have all these anchors in place before you learn it. But like, we're not going there. We're really just learning the deeper essence of Judaism.
Correct.
We learned like this symbolism between like putting on tefillin and what it does, and just like it's a little bit deeper than the surface stuff that you're learning. Like, whenever they tell you that you need to have all these anchors in place, you should have a background of Torah before you go to the next level. It's first grade Torah versus, okay, now we're older and now we can learn more. And that's really what it was. It just connected it, like all the pieces that we learned, it just connected it together. You're not going to become schizophrenic.
Yeah, you're not going to go up and like be gone. And I think that's the fear that we were told about fear, that if you do this, you're either too young, and if you do it too young, you're not going to connect, or you're not worthy, or if you're too old, you won't come back.
This was Durham. This was how we prayed. Right. And like, even whenever we are praying, what we're really doing is we're not praying to Hashem for Hashem. We're praying for us. It's affirmations. If you really read everything, it's thank you, Hashem, for giving me everything that I need. Because you need to remind yourself that Hashem does give you everything you need. He knows he gives you everything he needs. He's constantly giving you a breath, every breath you take. So it's just people, like, I don't know. I think also for me, it was like Kabbalah was like this big thing. Like, oh my gosh.
Scary.
It's very scary. But whenever I went there, I was like, no, this is just deeper. It's just the roots. And we're not digging all the way down to the center of the earth. We're just literally just what we already were what we had that got taken away from us.
Yeah, it's a 12th century term that this used to be Judaism, right? We used to do everything, and there was no separation between deep Hasidus and spirituality and like regular Judaism. It was one beautiful package. We lost it.
And its connection to mamash emet. And emet is something that's balanced. And our tradition, after going out into exile, it got packaged. And we've been, as a Jewish people, through so much trauma and so much persecution. But I feel like we got like a chelik of what our ancestors used to experience back in the era of the first and second temples. Like for instance, you had been mentioning prayer, Josh, and that was one of the most impactful experiences for me. There was one morning where we woke up at Shkia in the morning, got to do some very deep, amazing learning with the names of Hashem, and it really sparked in me, and it really brought out my spark, that learning. And then we went into a meditation, and afterwards we had the time to go and pray. And I went outside to go and pray. I sometimes pray with the Amidah, but for instance with the Shacharit, I generally don't do the whole prayer. I opened the Siddur, and the words were just flowing off of my mouth. I don't speak Hebrew fluently, but they were just flowing, because that's what's going on when you're in a flow state, when you're in a state of devekut, like fully one with Hashem. And that's what we got to experience, that oneness with each other, that oneness with Hashem. And it's not only us speaking and putting like those affirmations and having them sink in, which that's very valuable and a strong component of why the Siddur is written that way. But it's also Hashem speaking through us in that very moment. And I felt that Hashem was speaking through me. It was just rolling. Like, I don't know how it was rolling, but it was just, and that's how we're supposed to be, God willing, every time praying in a state of devekut.
I have a lot to say on this, but we're going to jump to Moshe. Tell me a little about your experience.
Well,
Russell, give you some tissues or no? A lot of crying was going on in this retreat.
Yeah, especially from the men.
Yes.
I mean, that question is very hard. Like, I can't really single out a meditation or one of the tools that he gave us, because all of them were like complementary and they were like very, very, very good. What I can tell you is that I cried twice, and one of the meditation is the Mechika, and in the Mechika he said that you had to forget and to erase your family and everything that you're attached to, and connect to the essence of it, which was really like a big shocker. And but when you do that, you really get rid of like he always calls it the noise, of this world, and you attach directly to the essence of everything, the light. And when I did that, I really cried like my heart out. That was one of the things. Another one that really was really impactful was the when he asked us to take all our struggles and everything that we have in life and really take it with the left hand and wrap it with the right hand and just, and that was like also something like really powerful when he said, whatever you struggle in, there is a light inside that your soul is connected to it, and you want that light, but you are getting attached to the klipa of it, and so that's why you're getting into addictions or struggles or trauma or anything of that sort. But in reality, it's the light that's in there. And that was like a wow moment. That was like really like, I was like in awe. I was humbled, because that's one thing that nobody teaches you, you know. They teach you a lot of things, but they don't teach you this type of teachings. And really, also, we've been learning a lot of Rabbi Nachman and everything, and a lot of Hasidut. But the way that he was teaching us, he was giving life to every single class that I learned, and I need to learn a lot more. But everything that I learned, he was giving a life, like wow, a light, and really that really was also a really impact. When you come into the retreat, he also warns you not to wait for a breakthrough, but you get it. You get it at one point. So that's also something that people, when they go there, they really have to be aware that when you get there, you will get your breakthrough at one point or another. You just need to be open to it. And once you open up and you remove all your barriers, you get that light. Like what I can tell you also is that at the end of the retreat, you're not talking to people anymore. You're talking to souls.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everybody felt it, and beautiful soul here, beautiful soul there, and you know, when somebody from the outside would look at us, yeah, you need to get to the.
You need a shrink.
Yeah, you need a shrink.
You need to get help from that.
We were all passing each other, random people, and just like a girl will see another girl, be like, "Oh, I love you. You're such a beautiful Shama."
Without knowing, without knowing it,
Judgment or not that.
no, there was no judgment. It was really a place where your soul was resting. It was in peace with itself, and that was really and one of the things also that we all knew, but at the end of the day we didn't get, is that we need that every 3 months, every 3-4 months. We need a retreat.
Yeah.
We need that, because we get pulled in right away. As soon as you come back from the retreat, you get pulled in right away in the daily life. And then, not that you forget what you learned, but then you have to adapt it, and then you need Rabbi Katz to, you know, guide you again with all that, with everything that you learned. So in reality, we need more than twice a year. We need like 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Good news is there's a couple events coming up.
Okay.
In September. But put that to the side for 1 second. I just wanted to say one thing based upon a lot of you guys' conversation is, and Rav Marmer, who was one of the people who was on the retreat, rabbi from Young Israel here in North Miami Beach, he quoted it so beautiful. It's like, we had to go to Mount Sinai in Mexico. We experienced the revelation of Mount Sinai, okay, in Mexico, right? The idea of Am Echad, Lev Echad, right? We're one nation. We experienced the revelation, all of us in real time. There was 200 and I think 20 something people that were at this retreat. I guarantee you, I would say 99.9% of everybody there at some point or other for sure felt something. And I would say a very high percentage at some point past day 2 or 3 were vibrating at a very high frequency, feeling super connected to Hashem, oneness, all of us, the souls together. It's kind of wild and it's hard to explain. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're here, we're trying our best to use words, right? And that's actually something to think about, is how tzaddikim, for them, it's also like, how do you explain in words what it's like to feel spiritually really connected to Hashem? it's hard to explain it because in spiritual terms, you can't. Spirituality is not something, we try to give it physical language, right? Kabbalah in general uses physical language to express things that we really don't know how to really express.
It's life.
It's right.
It's life.
So,
Blessing.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the most, like, we were just little peas and we're just like, that was the energy.
This is what it felt like to be a Jew back 2,000 years ago.
That's right. This is it.
Yeah, this is it.
And we think about the Beit HaMikdash, right? As we're airing this right now, the fire of the Beit HaMikdash we've probably got another hour left until it's Katzog. We're still experiencing Tisha B'Av. And yet I know that most people that were in elevation, I'm for sure, Tisha B'Av was a different day. Like, say you're watching these videos from all these different rabbis of Judaism today speaking about the Beit HaMikdash. And I'm thinking to myself, do you really know what it really feels like to have these incredible revelations? Like, oh, you don't understand. People were on a very high state. I'm like, hello, over here.
We got it.
We just had that a couple months ago.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
It's really amazing. I'm watching these videos, I'm like, you don't even know. But we do. Say it very with love and respect. Bye.
I feel like there's such a strong opposition because it's almost like a quick fix to bringing the Beit HaMikdash. Like, if we're all saying that we came out of there feeling united and loving each other and not feeling judgment, just a lot of love and compassion and closeness to God, that's the Beit HaMikdash. Mashiach's here. So the opposition is actually like the Satan just trying to like slow it down. Like, this is too much. This is very powerful. And I think this is why we have to open up to the things that feel uncomfortable. You know, you're very status quo when you just go to rabbi speeches on the parsha and you hear Torah, mitzvot, and you daven every day. It becomes, this is what you need to do. You're told Hashem loves you. You're told everything's working out for you, but you don't actually feel it. The feeling comes when you go into a meditative state and you connect to God using the names of Hashem. That's when you go up. That's when you feel it. Now, doesn't matter what anyone says, you know it. And once you know it, you're not going back. You're just so connected.
And I'll tell you something. I went to some shiurim after the retreat, and I finally understood what the rabbis were speaking about. I was like, whoa, I'm in on it. Like, I get it. And I was like, oh my goodness, all of these people around me, like they of course get some level, and all Torah feeds our souls, and it's amazing. But I felt like I got it like in an even deeper way. And continuing with that and like tapping into Mashiach consciousness and everything, I think what you were saying was that sometimes it's not even just like opposing forces outside. Sometimes it's opposing forces within that keep us from going into that state and into those places. Like I remember when I was at Rav Katz's home in Yerushalayim for Purim, and he told me, go all the way in into my prayer, to go all the way in. And I didn't understand fully like what that meant or how to, and I was afraid and scared. I was like, I don't have a guide, and finally in this retreat I understood what it means to go all the way in a way that's aligned with like halacha, with our tradition, with our trajectory. And that was so invaluable to be able to fine-tune how to connect to Hashem and to self. And when you're connected to Hashem and to self, things are flowing and you're able to fulfill your mission in this world, which is what we're here to do.
At the end of the retreat, I don't know about you guys, but I was like, we have to spread it. Like, how come we only 250? Like, the entire world has to know about it. Like, everybody has to be aware of what's going on. And we had that thrive, that fire that we had, and there's no way that nobody else needs. I mean, everybody has to be in this. Because it's like a medicine. It's like it changes the entire perspective of your life. Really, like it's life changing.
Hashem has like had the Arizal start bringing this out. 1,500 years ago. well, the result, then you had a break. And the result was like very, the amount that he was sharing about the light was insane. Then he took the Baal Shem Tov for 300 years, 400 years later. Baal Shem Tov comes, and I have all the Rebbes come out from the Baal Shem Tovs and the Maggid, and you have all the Chassidim and all this farm coming out, where now we have access to explanation and stories about how this light can be used. And for 300 years since the Baal Shem Tov, we have been waiting for a way for this to get out to the Jewish people again in a large scale way. And I think that Rabbi Katz does it amazingly. I think there are people out there who are working on it. There are Rebbes in Israel trying to do it. The Press Institute is trying to do it. There are people that are saying, hey, time is now. I think this is what we all feel. The time is now for this light to be shared and spread. And our frustration is, how do we do it? But also, how do we do it without everyone pushing back at us, saying, hey, who gave you permission to do this? Who said it's okay to do this? Who taught you this? And that's not the point. The point is, the teachers are there from thousands of years ago. Why can't we all learn together and love each other through it and spread the light? And that's where my frustration comes, is that I don't know how to do that on a larger scale.
So I want to double down on what you're saying and expand it a little bit. First of all, the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, in one of his most iconic speeches, when he was going to be very close to passing away, he says, it's your job to bring Mashiach. Everybody thought he was going to be the Mashiach, right? But he said that specifically, it's your job. You need to bring Mashiach. That's one, meaning we all have that role to really try to do this. The second thing, which I think is so an incredible teaching, we all learned this in the retreat, and this is something we're speaking about Mashiach consciousness and even bringing Mashiach, is that we know that the Baal Shem Tov had the dream, the famous dream. And that famous dream that he went up there, he went to go speak to Mashiach, right? And Mashiach was his Rebbe. And so he asked Mashiach, when are you coming? And Mashiach says, and this is the one thing that I always get, again, growing up as a Baal Tshuva under the Chabad system, and this is how they say it. It's when your teachings are spread throughout the world, Ufaratzta. And that's where they cut the line. They don't say the next line. And the next line is like the line. Mm-hmm. What is that line? When everybody's going to be able to do aliyas alamos and ichudim. Aliyas alamos, to have higher elevations, to go up to Shemayim. There's mechanisms how to do it. We had some of those experiences for sure. And to be able to do ichudim, working around with God's names, playing with the letters, Hashem playing, by using these letters in meditative states to achieve high states of consciousness, right? Which, as everybody has mentioned, puts light into our body. You feel at one with Hashem, with the world, with all the neshamas. This is it. When that happens, Mashiach's gonna come. And we know also that I think it was the Vilna Gaon who said, right, that when prophecy comes back, it's going to happen before Mashiach comes. Prophecy, in order for that to happen, you need to have this, dveikus, higher states of consciousness. It's the same thing. So what's amazing that we all have experienced in this whole experience is that we are the light bearers, and we have to share this with the world and let everybody know about it. And, it's very exciting, obviously, that we are in the forefront of all this stuff, but we just have to get it out there. With that being said, I wanted to ask you guys just a couple more questions. And the question I have is, if you had to say for someone, actually, let's go back. What would be your main takeaway, favorite teaching you learned from this experience? Throwing it out there, whoever wants, go ahead.
Sure. I think mechika for me, because as a materialistic person, being someone that loves design, I was an interior designer, being someone that was always seeking love and connection and wanting things from the physical world, and suddenly realizing that needing those things is actually disconnecting you from yourself and from connecting with Hashem. You're not on a soul level when you're wanting and needing, right? That was also what you were talking about earlier, Ayala. So it's really important to understand that the mechika is allowing you to erase the ego that wants. You're kind of like saying, I don't need the love from that person. I don't need things. Okay, obviously we need money to survive, but I don't need the money from X, Y, and Z. I allow Hashem to bring down everything that I need, which is love, connection, which is, a connection first, and to give me the abundance, the blessings, and everything that I want and seek from a soul level. Meaning my soul craves these things because I'm supposed to have it, right? Not a negative thing to want and to be needing those kind of attachments. But when we seek it from the wrong place, we're limiting ourselves, A, and B, we don't always get it because we're not getting it from the right place. So first connecting with Hashem and receiving it from Him. And through that receiving, I'm able to, Hashem will already designate on the physical plane who will give that to me. And it will be to the top, best place ever. Like you'll get the best, love and connection from the right person. You're going to get abundance from a place you never thought of. And you're going to get like all the material things just through Him. Like I would never think, to go down the path of energy healing and workshops when I was an interior designer. But then interior design wasn't picking up. I had a studio, I had everything set up, but the flow wasn't coming because Hashem was like, that's not where I want you to be. I want you to be here. I want you to be healing, helping people elevate. I want you giving mindset workshops so people could start changing their beliefs. And so it was like a complete shift because I suddenly went into a state of, you know what, I don't want financial abundance from where I want it. I want it from where you want it. And so Mechika was like erasing all attachments, all of my ego, what I thought was right, and then allowing Hashem to give me from where He thought was right. And that was game changer. I trust Hashem with all of my heart and all of my soul, with every decision that He has for me and every plan He has for me, because it is the best. I couldn't have asked for a better, advisor.
Amazing.
Wow. It was so beautiful. What you were mentioning about Mechika, actually, I did not connect to Mechika so much within the retreat. I only felt the power of this exercise afterwards. I realized like the root of this Mechika exercise, which is erasing the images and perceptions we have of certain things, which then allow us to be vessels for that divine flow and goodness and Hashem's Ratzon, Hashem's will, the will of, yes, our Creator. And I had this experience and I called a very good friend of mine to just speak with her about it. And then she started sharing some other things that she was going through. And I read the Shabbat writings from Rav Itchamar Morgenstern, the Sea of Wisdom, Beyam Darkecha. They have a beautiful newsletter that's distributed in English. And I realized that he was teaching Mechika. I kept on seeing the story of him popping up, which went something along the lines of one of his students saw him rubbing off the olive oil from an olive, because in general we Jews put our olives in olive oil, and it's basically so that we'll have good memory and we'll remember. And the student asks his Rebbe, why are you doing it? And Rebbe, it's in my Morgenstern. Like I don't know exactly how it's written, but I imagine him laughing, and he says, because sometimes it's good to forget. And as soon as I told that story to my friend, she was like, whoa, like that story, like cleansed me. Like I feel like I'm a whole new person. Like what was weighing on me is not weighing on me anymore. And so at that point, I realized the power of this Mechika exercise. And instead of going and erasing like you're doing with a whiteboard, I started to rub an olive and imagine just any worry, anything that's blocking me dissolving away. So that power was revealed much afterwards. But what I did connect to within the retreat, and I found to be the most healing, was the exercise of looking at at a partner for a half hour. There's no words to describe that experience. I felt fully seen. We had to completely lock eyes with the person and we couldn't stop. And I felt like all of those negative self-perceptions, all of those negative things that had been blocking me, they started to melt away. Like I was being seen not by a human, but by a soul, and not only by a soul, by the Shekhinah herself. And she was seeing me and witnessing me, and I was seeing her and witnessing her. And there aren't any words for it, really. So I'm very grateful.
Share with us your story with your partner.
I
Who was
felt,
your partner, by the way?
You were my partner.
I felt, I'll tell you something. We're speaking about the Beit HaMikdash. We were both the Keruvim in the Beit HaMikdash.
Oh.
That was the feeling. And the feeling was Mashiach is right now. And we aren't seeing it. And we need to tap into that consciousness and always turn that consciousness on. Love that.
Yeah, we come like really deep after this. True. Like we're just
Like, this is not normal conversation.
like we can go on for hours. We're gonna try to see what we can do to wrap it up. But sorry for the delay here. Okay, here we go.
I don't even know how to follow up on that. But yeah, I think what we all experienced was a level of our soul was awake. Like we woke up and we have a different level of consciousness, and we just want everyone to be like, hey, wake up. Like, come on, let's stop this and wake up. Okay, so something that I took out personally from the retreat that was one of my moments, one of my breakthroughs. A couple months prior to this, as every marriage has ups and downs, I was having a down, and I decided I'm going to marry Hashem. That was it. I was like, our relationship needs Hashem, and we need to have Hashem in our marriage. It's me, you, and Hashem. So whatever I wasn't getting from my husband, I decided I'm going to get from Hashem. If I wanted to feel seen or validated, or if there was like a need that I wasn't getting met, I'm like, I'm getting it from Hashem. There's only you, Hashem. Like, I'm not lacking anything. I have everything. So I even have a ring that, like, whenever I'm nervous, I'm like twirling it around because this is my like, this is Aniyatodi, like, it has everything in it. And this is my reminder. I'm married to Hashem. I'm married to my husband, and we are a unit. And this is where, like, the shalom bias. So that was something that I came into the retreat already having. But I've never connected to Hashem in a feminine presence. The Shekhinah, the feminine presence of Hashem. I never felt like I was always my father, my king, and then became my husband. But then it was my mother. And I was just able to, in one of the meditations, I remember it was crazy. I became a baby, and I was crying and having a tantrum. And I'm screaming at Hashem and just like going wild. And I felt Hashem like pick me up. And Hashem wasn't yelling at me saying like, why are you screaming? Stop it, calm down. It was like, shh, I got you. And it was like, I remember falling asleep in Hashem's arms. And while I was asleep, Hashem was just fixing everything in my life. I didn't have to do anything. And that was when we connected to the body parts, like the Netzach and the Hod. I'm very much push through, keep going, do what you have to do. Don't stop, be resilient. But this time I was actually able to break down in my mother's arms and just feel taken care of. Like, I'm fed, I'm happy, my diaper is changed, everything is good. Like, I'm taken care of. And I think that for me was really, really beautiful. Like, I don't feel like I'm lacking anything. Like, from Hashem, I have everything. I have my father, I have my mother, I have my king, I have my husband, I have everything. That was it. Just connecting to different body parts, to the name. Like, really, we're so complete and we're so whole. And I'm able to, like, anytime I have a lack, I can close my eyes and I can go back to that place of like, I'm okay. And that's a gift that I got from that retreat.
Amazing. Sounds like Kabbalistically, you were attuned. You went from Hod to Bina. Bina represents mother, Ima, who's there. That light of Bina is the one that holds you like a mother. It's called. And it's also the light of Olam Haba. There you go. That's what it sounds like you were tapping into. But what do I know?
That's amazing.
Amazing.
The one takeaway that I can take away from the one takeaway from this retreat was really alignment. We can give it all these wonderful Hebrew names and Kabbalistic names, but it was just alignment. It was what it's like stepping into the light, opening the windows, getting fresh air. It was just pure. It was easy. It was pure, right? It was wonderful. And what that did for our marriage was something I could have never gained in traditional therapy, in doing my own spiritual work by myself. This was done as a collective group of 220 people who wanted to be there, who wanted to connect to Hashem. And the energy and the light was so powerful that even if you just didn't even want to do any work, you had no choice. You were pulled into this vortex of Kedusha. It was like kind of being, like you said, the Keruvim, like being in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, in that spot. Like time and space, faces, everything melted away. I didn't see somebody for being not religious or Hasidish or from or not from, or whatever these terms mean. We just saw each other for what they were. And in our marriage, what that did was that removed all these perceptions, these klipot, and it really helped us connect. Very quickly, I was blessed to be part of one of the healing circles or prayer circles because of the trauma that I had really come to the retreat with in my life. And instead of, when we finished this beautiful prayer circle, I'll call it, I looked at my husband, and for the issues that we've been dealing with over the last few years, I didn't even say I forgive you. I said thank you. Because in my meditation, I saw that our marriage and myself, I wasn't broken. I was fragmented, like stones across a river that were meant to help me get there. If I was one whole piece, I would have never been able to cross this river. So I don't know what's here on the other side, but it helped us be able to connect and look at our marriage through a place of gratitude for Hashem for putting us through the really difficult times. Beautiful.
Wow. Thank you. That's interesting. Yeah. When Michael asked us, like, share one thing, the one thing I was waiting to say was aligned. Aligned is the only word I can think of.
Aligned we are.
That's how aligned we are. We're so aligned that aligned was the word. Before the retreat, they didn't know they were. The word aligned didn't find the vocabulary.
No, we were trying to find the best divorce.
Yeah, no, aligned is the perfect word. I think that when I learned what it means to be aligned with Hashem, and then when that alignment happens, shefa, light, everything flows. And now when I'm back from the retreat, and I know days when I wake up, but I'm not aligned. My learning is harder. My davening is harder. Work is harder. And I know on days when I'm getting better. I have not been so aligned as was at the retreat, because with 200 people doing it, it's a lot easier. But I now know what it means to be in that path where Hashem can give you all that He wants to, all that we need. And I also know what it means when I'm off. And also that carries over into our marriage. I know when I'm not aligned to where I'm not seeing Ayala or hearing Ayala, and vice versa. So align is the perfect word. That sums up the entire trip for me.
Also? Well, I kind of answered that question earlier, but to go back to this exercise where you look at your partner, and I was looking at you, it was really a game changer, because you are, when you focus on something, on the eyes of that person in front of you, you are entering his privacy, his soul, and you're not, and the fact that you are focusing on that for 30 minutes without blinking of an eye, as we say, it really gets everything, all the background behind everything, all his face gets melted, and you look at the eyes, and then something that I never thought I could say, but I saw Adam Arishon. How to explain Adam Arishon? I don't know, but I know that he was Adam Arishon. It was so powerful, this experience. I saw Adam Arishon, and then I saw a soldier also from, I guess, the 1200s, 1300s, in that period of time. And you were like, everything was completely removed. All limits were removed, and you were looking at the soul. And that's how we get out of this retreat. And at the end of this exercise, also when he tells you go now wander into that was even completely insane. Like
Go walk around nature.
yeah, that was
Looking at each other for 30 minutes. He said, go walk around nature.
yeah. Can I say what happened?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, I mean,
You want to look at me again for 30 minutes?
Look, people were hugging trees, for God's sake. I was looking at a flower for like 10 minutes, and I don't even know what I was looking at, but I was looking at the depth of it, and the even the I don't know if there's a soul in it. Yeah, there's a type of soul in it. But I was looking at it, and if you would have told me that an hour before that, I would have laughed and I would have said, "You guys are crazy," and none of the less. 2 hours later, I was looking at that, and then there was a big mountain, and there was like a tree, like really like singled out, and also another 10 minutes I spent on it, from very far, and it was like really zoomed in my eyes, and I couldn't, get out. Like I was like attracted. I couldn't get out until they called us, and I had to just shut down. But otherwise, yeah, it was really an experience that is one of a lifetime, I would say.
I was able to see the auras of the plants and the trees. And when I realized they have an aura, I'm like, there's energy here, but it's a divine energy. And so everything living is divine, has divine in it. Even things that are not living. Yeah. It's incredible.
It's seeing the unity in the whole world.
Yeah, exactly. That's that's the loop, and now you at the end of the retreat, and that's okay. So everything is connected to Hashem, and that's it. And you cannot look at things anymore and say this one got me upset or this one got me on this stage. You cannot say all of that. You are now in another type of consciousness that you are like above all of that, and that's a takeaway. That's something that you don't get anywhere else.
Amazing. So that's a lot to be said, and we probably could speak for hours more about this. But if anybody's watching on the outside and will watch this podcast or hear clips from it, I think the big takeaway is, the good news is we were all talking, when's the next one, right? So we know that this being a South Florida-based show, Rav Daniel Katz, we are going to be bringing here through the Lighthouse Project as well. He's having a whole day, September 7th on a Sunday. It's going to be a full day from I think 9 in the morning till like 8:30 at night. Very intensive day, and obviously there's going to be a lot of learning Torah, which is part of how these days work, and then the actual experience in practicing whatever he's teaching. And I'm super excited about it. Obviously I'm a part of it, but I'm also just excited to see South Florida now, more people being engaged with this work, and hopefully just continue to see this continually grow. And if people are looking to do something a little bit more bigger, there is the Elevation Retreat that's going to be happening in New York, also in September. I think it's
13th, 14th.
14th.
Yeah.
14th, up in New York. You guys can go and check out the Elevation Project. They have their information there, which talks about that. That will give you a full immersive day after day experience. So it will be amazing as well. So I encourage anybody who watches this, I don't care if you're in South Florida, I don't care where you are in the world. If you have an opportunity to come, even if it's for one day to South Florida, come out, experience what we just all experienced. And there's Rat Hashem that will help all of us, the collective unity of all Klal Yisrael, really the whole world in general, to connect to this, the new teachings, the teachings of Mashiach. It's not really new. It's really the old. And we're just bringing it back, old school style. As Rabbi Nachman said, he's bringing back the old school and he's making it new. I think this is just now bringing it to even more into the forefront. And with that, that's how we're going to bring Mashiach, B'ezrat Hashem. With these teachings, as you can see, We all are experiencing. I even shared everything I have to share, but it doesn't matter. This is amazing. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you guys here, spending the last hours of Tisha B'Av together.
You got us back a few months ago, and I'm like thinking of all of that now.
Yeah,
We're flying.
So, yeah.
we're flying. I'm
Being
going.
activated.
Yeah.
doing that. Great.
The spaceship landed, so we gotta go.
The spaceship is leaving. All right, guys.